话，这边人说的最多的是啥语言？
就中文。
中文。
对。
广东话还是？
对。
广东话。
对，因为其实这里还是它的中国文化其实还是以广东文化为主体嘛。
哦。
对，因为这边广东来的人最多。
哦。
而且广东最容易过来了。
Welcome back. Today we are on our way to Macau, Aumen, and right now we are in the harbor in central Hong Kong. Flo is with me.
Hello.
And we came here 2 days ago because Hong Kong is Flo's favorite place. We stay here for 2 days for work, and today we're leaving for Macau. Today we're going to take a turbojet. It's about 1 hour away from here. And you can also take the helicopter. So up there is something called a sky shuttle. Flo is pushing me and my little scooter. And speaking of Macau, I've never been there. It's another special administrative region in China. It was handed over to China in 1999, and before that it had been a Portugal colony. That is our ticket. We just got it from the counter, and the price is 175 Hong Kong dollar per person. As someone from the mainland, we need a special permit to enter Hong Kong and Macau, so it's an e-card called 往来港澳通行证, and each time we are allowed to stay up to 1 week in Macau or in Hong Kong, but I think for Flo it's even easier.
So with an EU passport you can stay visa-free for 90 days in Hong Kong or Macau, which is quite convenient.
So basically he can stay much longer than I can. But I understand the policy because in the mainland there are 1.4 billion of us, and Hong Kong and Macau are very popular destinations. So if fully open, those two places will soon be swamped with tourists from the mainland. From Hong Kong, it only takes about an hour by ferry to get to Macau. It's a tiny place, about the size of 3 Pudong airports, or half of Manhattan. There are quite a few restrictions for mainland Chinese residents traveling to Hong Kong and Macau. Part of the reason is to avoid an overwhelming influx of tourists that could disrupt local life and social order. But it's also about keeping the tourism industry more balanced, encouraging Macau and Hong Kong to attract a more diverse range of international visitors. Moreover, Macau is the only place in China where gambling is legal, so I guess, in a way, these travel restrictions also help prevent mainland residents from flooding in just to gamble. To the north and west, Macau borders the city of Zhuhai in Guangdong province, and to the east, it's connected to Hong Kong by the 55-kilometer-long Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, the longest sea crossing in the world. Macau was leased to Portugal back in 1557 as a trading post and had been run as a de facto Portuguese colony and was handed over back to China in 1999. Today, the Macau's landmass was expanded by more than a third by land reclamation. To the south, you've got Taipa and Kowloon, with clusters of skyscrapers and massive casinos. And to the north, there is Macau Peninsula, home to historical neighborhoods and where most locals live. That's also where we are staying this time, right in the heart of Old Macau. The old city of Macau is very dense and very compact. The streets are very narrow. According to my observation, there are a lot of scooters. I think there are way more scooters in Macau than in Hong Kong. There is always one row of scooter parking and another row of car parking. Look, you can roll. You can roll to the signage in the bus station.
So this is the way how Yen moves through the cities, and I'm doing my workout.
Yes, that's true. I'm switching between Flo's scooter and my crutch. Many cars in Macau has 2 or even 3 plates. So this one has a Guangdong province plate and also a Macau plate, so that we can drive in between mainland and Macau. Out of all Asian cities I've been to, except Russia, this is the one that feels most like Europe. The road signs are written in both Chinese and Portuguese, framed with traditional Portuguese tiles. And with all the European faces, sometimes I honestly feel like I am in Portugal. There are certain foods that you can find in almost every corner in Macau. For example, this, the Portuguese tart. Such a beautiful corner, and it really reminds me of some places in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal. I got a seafood with rice. Don't know if that's their Portuguese, and Flo got his favorite lamb dish. The historical center of Macau definitely has a unique European flair. So on the highest point, there is a big cathedral, but now there is only just one facade left, and following the staircases, there's a small public square over there. The alleys are quite narrow, and the buildings are painted in different colors. There are so many churches and European-style buildings. The streets and plazas are paved with cobblestones, which is very typical of European cities. I also heard a very funny story. So before 1999, before Macau was handed over to China, the Portuguese government spent all the public budget. So they renovate many historical area, for example here, and they replace the big stone slates with those tiny stones to give those area a European flair. Although the city layout feels European, it really has a Cantonese soul. The shop signs on the streets are written in traditional Chinese calligraphy, and there are plenty of restaurants sell Cantonese food, such as soup noodles, steamed dim sum, and roast duck. There are tons of seafood shops selling all kinds of expensive dried goods, like abalone, shark fin, and fish maw. Honestly, if I hadn't looked them up online, I wouldn't have guessed these are actually used in cooking. 双顶大金翅, that's the shark fin, and some dried seafood, 还有南非鲍, and this is, I actually don't know what that is. All those materials are very typical in Cantonese cuisine, but I've never tried any of them. Besides churches, you'll see a lot of temples around. They are always busy with burning incense. Right at the entrance of most stores, there is usually a little shrine. Sometimes it's Guanyin, but more often it's Menkou 土地财神, the deity of earth and wealth. Next to it, you'll find an incense holder and a golden bucket for offering. It just shows how alive traditional folk belief still are here. On our second day in Macau, we met a local guy, Jackie Chow. He showed us around the city like a true insider.
虽然你们感觉什么香港、澳门，它是一个独立的一个什么港澳文化，但其实它的主要重心还是广式文化，它是在我个人看来，它是被包括在广式文化里面的。对，不过还是只是稍有不同。
那你在家说啥呀？粤语、广东话。对，这样子。
然后因为我家是客家人，所以
你还会说客家话吗？
一点点。
澳门这边会不会每一家都有一辆摩托车呀？
至少一辆。
至少一辆。
对，就是普通人，就基本上至少一辆。对。
It's one of the most densely populated city in the world. You can really feel it. It's very loud. There are traffic in every direction, and there are a lot of scooters. Look at the way I squeeze myself through the sidewalk. Many of the street in Macau is pretty narrow, and many streets are simply one-way traffic. But don't you have to learn Portuguese in school? No?
Never.
So how many people in Macau can speak Portuguese?
所以只有相当一部分公务员，特别是高级公务员以及那个土生仆人，我们叫，
就是在这边出生长大的葡萄牙人，对吧？
对，还有他们是葡萄牙跟其他国家的混血，然后只有他们会讲一些，然后其他的要不就是高级公务员，要不就是律师什么的那些，
就是官方在政府部门担任的会说葡语。
对对。
Interesting. Before that, I thought many people in Macau can speak Portuguese, but apparently it's not really the case. 那这边人说的最多的是啥语言？
就中文。
中文。对。广东话还是？
对。
广东话。
对，因为其实这里还是以它的中国文化，其实还是以广东文化为主体嘛。对，因为这边广东来的人最多。而且广东最容易过来了。
买不买一只鸡？
要这个吧。我也要。
这个是我们这边的一种慈善活动。
就是吃饭帮助那些残疾人士。
Chao told us this is part of Macau culture. A lot of people grow up helping out with charity fundraising events. He even received a flower, but he said, "I don't really have anyone to give it to." Then they started speaking Cantonese, and I totally couldn't keep up anymore.
我要藉住今次送俾佢，可以多一句説話。
我見佢我頭暈真係。
唔會嘅，
我送俾你啊，好唔好啊？我送俾你啊，多謝。好，拜拜。
Macau is a real foodie playground. Besides classical Cantonese dishes, there are influences from Portuguese and Southeast Asia cuisines. Just near the ruin of St. Paul's, tucked away in the alleys, there is this cozy bakery called Bamu. You can grab a freshly baked pastéis de nata for just 12 Macanese pataka. That's like $1.5. And for around $5, the baker will even make a pastry fresh just for you, almost too beautiful to bite. There are also traditional Chinese pastries like peanut candy and almond cookies. Many of these bakeries are family-run and have been around for generations.
This shop sells very traditional 杏仁饼, the almond biscuit. They said I can try one, and they are making it. It's not very sweet, quite solid, and has a fragrance of the almond.
In the neighborhood where we stayed, there were tons of Burmese restaurants brought here by Chinese Burmese immigrants. Today, Chao took us to a local cha canteen, one of those classic Hong Kong-style diners. He told us that back in the days, this was where ordinary folks could enjoy affordable Western food.
This is a local store, and I hear Cantonese all the time. And over there, there's a little shrine, a 财神爷. So let's check the menu. 你早饭就喝一杯奶茶吗？
然后点一个面。对，
奶茶配面。
配牛腩面，很怪是不是？
对。
但我们这边就是这样，就是喝奶茶、喝咖啡，吃肠粉。
I got a 西洋菜米 so it's some syrup with ice. Tastes a little bit like 王老吉, the herbal tea in Guangdong province. We also got the most famous food in Macau. What's it called?
Pastéis de nata.
就这个是普通的蛋挞，就是澳门就是 is Cantonese or Hongkonese egg tart. And we have Portuguese egg tart.
So this is not Portuguese tart.
It's normally tart.
So this is the Macau style.
Cantonese style.
Cantonese style.
这是广式的蛋挞。
对。
有啥区别吗？
就一个有焦糖，一个没焦糖。然后这个的它的塔皮不太一样。
干杯！ And now another dish is on. That is 猪扒包. It's bread with schnitzel.
So this one is very different from the Portuguese egg tart because the Portuguese egg tart is more layered. But this one, when we bite it, it falls into small pieces. Time for Flo to try the schnitzel.
Yeah, so this is what we call in the Bavarian Schnitzelsemmel. And I would say it's a little bit less like a schnitzel, but more like a steak, a marinated steak.
Public transport in Macau is very convenient. Buses can get you anywhere, and this tiny place actually has 3 metro lines. Oh, there are actually 3 lines. 谢谢. The metro ticket here is a small coin like that in Nanjing. The metro took us to Taipa, and I can saw the skyscrapers in Zhuhai from afar and the shiny golden casinos nearby. Everything's more expensive in the casino. For 2 bottles of water, I paid 30. Inside, the lobby was all gold and glamour, packed with people. The scent of the perfume hits you right at the entrance. It feels luxurious, expensive, like a world of indulgence and fancy. So anyway, the casino is just behind us and filming is not allowed. So guys, we're not in Italy, this is not Venice, but it's called Venezia. It's the 2nd largest casino in the world, and it's a casino plus a shopping complex. I think we are probably on the 3rd or 5th floor. They built a replica of Venice inside this building. Besides Venetian, there is Parisian the Londoner. Macau basically brought all the iconic European landmarks together into one place. It's busy, vibrant, but too luxurious to feel real. So why did Macau turn to gambling? Back in the 19th century, as its role as a trading port declined compared to Hong Kong, the Portuguese government legalized gambling in 1847 to boost revenue. While it provides lots of jobs and income, many locals have mixed feeling about it. Most people here don't actually gamble. For them, casinos are just part of background noise of city life. Macau is never known for its beaches, but there are some. So at the very southern end, we arrived at this 黑沙滩, which means black beach because the sand is black. And this part is very different from the old city quarter, which is loud and busy. We're going to stay here for another 4 minutes because Flo is having his highlight of the day.
Yeah, I'm an old F geek, so there's a plane that's gonna land just there. And there's the airport behind this hill, so you can see it quite closely.
We're also going to end the video. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy Macau, and bye bye.
Bye bye.